Hi there, my name's Daniel, and what you're about to watch is a demonstration of how easy it is to manage a Zend Server clustered environment. In a clustered environment, seamless scalability and flexible management are crucial. Zend Server's architecture is based on a decentralized management system that is comprised of identical components, facilitating high availability and supporting cloud environments. Zend Server uses a database backend to store information about the installed servers. The database stores the configuration settings blueprint, which contains the desired configuration of all Zend Server components, and serves as a reference point for the servers in the cluster. The configurations stored on the blueprint range from applications to virtual hosts, libraries, and PHP settings. Any detected changes to the central blueprint are automatically applied individually by each server. Unexpected changes, for example if a configuration file was edited on a certain server and not through the Zend Server UI, are automatically detected and reported. The robustness of the architecture stems from the fact that ultimately each server is responsible for itself. It reports its own status and takes care of its own configuration updates. Cluster management operations are web service enabled and can be fully automated, allowing you to easily integrate with your continuous delivery cycle. Enough theory, let's begin our demo. I'm using a single Zend server, but I'm looking to add some firepower to my production environment. To do this, I need to create a cluster and add some servers. So, I'm going to go to the Servers page under the Administration tab. I'm going to start by clicking the Join Cluster button in the action bar. In the Join Cluster dialog that popped up, I'm going to first name the server. We can leave the server's IP address as is. Next, I'm going to enter the IP of the server hosting the database. In this case, it's the IP of this very same server. Since this is the first server of the cluster, I'm going to be creating the cluster database. So first I need to name it, and then enter the default admin MySQL user credentials. Clicking Join Cluster, I'm notified of a new Zend user and password that were created for accessing the cluster database. Zend Server then restarts, database is created, and cluster configurations are applied. Great, we've created the cluster. Let's begin optimizing our production environment by making some initial configurations. For starters, I'm going to change the PHP display errors directive to off. These configurations are saved on the cluster blueprint and will be applied to each server added to the cluster. Same goes for applications. Apps are added to all existing servers in the cluster and new servers. I'm going to deploy some applications to demonstrate this. Okay, so we've made some configurations and we've deployed some apps. Now let's start adding some servers. There are a number of ways to do this, one being from the Zend Server launch wizard. This wizard is displayed after installing Zend Server and takes you through some basic bootstrap configurations. On the second dialog of this wizard, you can choose which kind of launch type you want to perform. I'm going to select a cluster production environment and click Next. On the next dialog, we're going to enter the details of the cluster we're about to join. The name and IP address of the server already entered, so I'm going to enter the IP of the server hosting the database, the database name, and database user credentials. Once we've done this, we can click Next, install the default PHP libraries, and click Launch to launch Zend Server. The server is launched, and we're going to log in using our cluster user credentials. All the cluster configurations we applied before that are stored on the blueprint are applied to the new member of the cluster. Going to the apps page of the server, we can see the applications we deployed earlier on the cluster. Another way to join the cluster is to add an external server that hasn't been launched yet from inside the cluster. To do this, we're going to go to the servers page again, and in the action bar, click Add Server. In the Add Server dialog, we're going to fill in the details of the server we want to add to the cluster, its name and IP address. And now I'm going to click Add Server. So I've now got a cluster consisting of 3 servers. Just going to change the names of the new additions. Now you may have noticed that when we first joined the cluster, the notification center lit up, telling us that session clustering is disabled. Clicking Details, we get sent to the session clustering page, where I'm going to click this link at the top of the page to enable the feature. What is session clustering? Basically, it's a high availability session management system for sharing session data between servers in a cluster, making sure that sessions aren't lost in case of a system failure. The next thing I'd like to demonstrate is what happens when the configurations of one of the members of the cluster are not aligned with the central cluster blueprint. So I'm going to manually change the value of the error handling directive I turned off before on one of the servers in the cluster. Done. Let's see how Zend Server responds. The notification center lights up, informing us that Zend Server has identified a configurations mismatch. Clicking Details, Zend Server takes me to the servers page, where a message is informing me of the configuration mismatch on the server in question. You can either apply the new configurations to the entire cluster, or revert the server to the current cluster configurations. Now, say you need to take down a server, for maintenance reasons for example. All you have to do, after taking the server off the load balancer of course, is select the server from the servers list and click the Disable button in the Actions column on the right. When a server is disabled, it performs a graceful shutdown, transferring all the sessions stored on the server to one of the other servers in the cluster, thus guaranteeing that session data is not lost. Clicking the Enable button brings the server back online. Actions we perform in Zend Server are recorded, and you can see their details on the audit trail page. All the details of the actions we performed in this video are listed. That's it guys, thanks for watching. If you want more info on working with the Zend Server cluster, or any other feature in Zend Server, go to Zend's product documentation at www.zend.com.